another KnoYoBoE production, where we bring you informative interviews and content focused on health and wellness. I am your host, Nicole Starling Shakir. This month, we explore pioneers and health advocates of today to bring Black history into focus. Before the world fully understood healthcare's importance and medical advancements became widely accessible, some fearless pioneers defied the odds. They stepped into a system that wasn't built for them, knowing their presence was a form of resistance. They didn't just practice medicine, they fought for the right to heal. They shattered racial and gender barriers, making wellness possible for future generations. They had mental fortitude beyond measure, refusing to let racism, segregation, or doubt keep them from their purpose. Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler was born in 1831. She was the first Black woman physician in the United States. She walked into a profession that barely recognized women, let alone Black women. Yet she dedicated her life to underserved communities, treating freed slaves, and proving that wellness is a right, not a privilege. In 1883, she published a book of medical discourses, which focused on maternal and infant health, one of the earliest medical publications by a Black American author. Today, her name lives on through the Rebecca Lee Pre-Health Society at Syracuse University. Dr. Crumpler passed away in 1895. Dr. James McCoon Smith, born into slavery in 1813, pioneered medicine, education, and abolitionism. In 1820, he attended the New York African Free School, where he excelled academically. However, he was denied admissions to American colleges due to racial discrimination, thereby forcing Smith to further his education outside of the country. He landed in Glasgow, Scotland, where he attended the University of Glasgow, becoming the first Black American to earn a medical degree in 1837. Returning to the U.S. as a highly educated physician, writer, and intellectual, Dr. Smith opened his medical practice and pharmacy in New York City, making him the first Black person in the country to own and operate a pharmacy. Beyond medicine, Dr. Smith was a fierce abolitionist. He contributed essays to Frederick Douglass's paper and the Anglo-African magazine, covering science, politics, and racial justice. His legacy reminds us that education, persistence, and the fight for equality go hand in hand. He passed away in 1865. Dr. Charles Drew was born in 1904. He pioneered blood plasma preservation, and his research laid the foundation for modern blood banks. He led the Blood for Britain project during World War II, organizing large-scale blood donations for wounded soldiers. One of his most significant contributions is his 1940 doctoral dissertation, Bank Blood, a study in blood preservation, which detailed methods for storing blood plasma. He later became the first director of the American Red Cross Blood Bank. Still, he resigned when the U.S. military enforced a racist policy segregating blood by race, a practice he strongly opposed as scientifically baseless and unjust. As the first Black surgeon to earn a doctorate in medical science from Columbia University, Dr. Drew was also a dedicated educator, training generations of Black doctors at Howard University. His impact on medicine was immense, yet his life was tragically cut short in a 1950 car accident at just 45 years old. Vivien Thomas was born in 1910 and initially dreamed of becoming a doctor. However, the Great Depression wiped out his college savings, forcing him to work as a laboratory assistant at Vanderbilt University under Dr. Alfred Blalock. Thomas quickly proved himself to be a brilliant researcher and innovator, mastering surgical techniques with a precision that rivaled trained surgeons. When Blalock moved to Johns Hopkins University, he insisted that Thomas accompany him. There, Thomas played a critical role in developing the first successful heart surgery to treat blue baby syndrome, a life-threatening condition affecting newborns with congenital heart defects. Though he designed the procedure and trained white surgeons to perform it, he wasn't allowed to operate in the main hospital and was paid as a janitor despite his vital contributions. Thomas chronicled his experiences and contributions in his autobiography, Partners of the Heart, Vivien Thomas, and his work with Alfred Blaylock. This work provides an in-depth look into his journey, his challenges due to racial discrimination, and his instrumental role in pioneering cardiac surgery techniques. His story is a testament to brilliance, perseverance, and a refusal to be erased from history. He passed away in 1985. Henrietta Lacks was a Black American woman born in 1920, and without her knowledge or consent, her cells changed modern medicine forever. She was diagnosed with aggressive cervical cancer at Johns Hopkins Hospital. During her treatment, doctors took a sample of her tumor cells without informing her or her family, a common but unethical practice at the time. Unlike any other cell scientists had encountered, Henrietta's cells didn't die in the lab. Instead, they kept multiplying indefinitely, creating the first ever immortal human cell line known as HeLa cells. These cells became one of the most essential tools in medical research, leading to breakthroughs in vaccines, including polio, cancer treatments, gene mapping, and even COVID-19 research. For decades, her family had no idea about the impact of HeLa cells or the profit they generated for medical and pharmaceutical companies. Meanwhile, they struggled to afford health care. Her legacy has only recently been recognized, and her family continues to advocate for ethical medical practices. She passed away in 1951. They were revolutionaries. They were fearless in the face of rejection and relentless in their pursuit of equality. And that's the spirit of KnoYoBoE. To be fearless, stand in your purpose, and prioritize wellness, even when the world challenges it. Breaking barriers is not just about overcoming challenges. It's about refusing to accept limits. It's about stepping into spaces where we weren't always welcomed and making those spaces our own. The Black wellness leaders of today are fearlessly dismantling disparities, ensuring that our communities receive the care, knowledge, and respect we deserve. They are rewriting the narrative, proving that our health is our power and that Black wellness is not an afterthought. It's a priority. Dr. Uche Blackstock is a prominent Black American physician and thought leader dedicated to addressing racism in healthcare. She and her twin sister Oni were born in Brooklyn, New York on November 4th, 1977. The sisters were inspired by their mother, Dr. Dale Gloria Blackstock, a Harvard-trained nephrologist. The sisters made history when they both graduated from Harvard Medical School in 2005, becoming the first Black mother-daughter legacies at the institution. Dr. Uche founded Advancing Health Equity, an organization committed to partnering with healthcare institutions to eradicate racial health disparities through training and consultation services. In 2019, Forbes named her one of the 10 diversity and inclusion trailblazers you need to get familiar with. In January 2024, Dr. Uche published her memoir, Legacy, A Black Physician Reckons with Racism in Medicine. It is a deeply personal and powerful look at the struggles of Black doctors and patients, and became an instant New York Times bestseller. She speaks truth to power, demanding that the system change, not the people suffering under it. Today, she continues to push for a healthcare system that truly serves everyone. Dr. Damon Tweedy is a distinguished Black American professor, author, and psychiatrist who earned his medical degree from Duke University School of Medicine. Born in 1972, he has dedicated his life to exploring the intersections of race and medicine and has seen firsthand the bias that Black patients and doctors face. In 2015, Dr. Tweedy authored the memoir, Black Man in a White Coat. His storytelling blends the personal experiences, historical context, and patient interactions to highlight the deep-seated racial disparities in medicine. He emphasizes mental health awareness, where stigma around therapy and psychiatric care still exists. He uses his platform as a Duke University professor to train future doctors in cultural competency. His work encourages more Black men to enter medicine, helping them recognize and address biases in medical treatment while exposing systemic issues in healthcare. Born in 1960, Dr. Patrice Harris is a trailblazing Black American psychiatrist renowned for her leadership and advocacy in healthcare. She earned her bachelor's degree in psychology in 1982. She continued at West Virginia University, earning her Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology in 1986, and her medical degree from the West Virginia University School of Medicine in 1992. Dr. Harris began her private practice in Atlanta, Georgia in 1998, specializing in adult, child, adolescent, and forensic psychiatry. She has continued to operate in those fields throughout her career. In 2019, she made history, becoming the first Black woman to serve as president of the American Medical Association. In addition to her work with AMA, Dr. Harris co-founded eMed, a digital healthcare company, and continues to advocate for public health and medical education. Her unwavering dedication continues to impact meaningful changes in the medical community and beyond. These are the leaders, the warriors, the game changers. They are redefining Black wellness, breaking through barriers that once seemed impossible to move. They remind us that prioritizing our health is not just about survival, it's about thriving and taking control of our well-being. Black history is a story of resilience, a story of facing the unknown, a story of not letting challenges define you. And that story became my own. When I was diagnosed with cancer in 2020, I could have allowed that moment to either consume me or ignite a fire within me to fight. I chose to fight. The fight for my own health, my own future, and I turned it into something more significant. I remember the lessons of those who came before me, the healers, the warriors, the ones who didn't quit. And that's when KnoYoBoE was born. KnoYoBoE became my way to remind others of one truth. You are stronger than the struggle. You are built for more. Your legacy starts with how you choose to live today.